Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be doing top 5 favorite Overwatch characters for me. We're going to be testing mostly on playstyle and each ability to its what potential it has, and also just the fun level of the character. So my number one favorite Overwatch character would have to be Zarya, because she's very fun to play if you have a good team, and sometimes even not, because the enemy team could just charge a barrier up and you can do a lot of damage. Her Graviton Surge is a very good ult, especially if it gets the whole team involved in it, and it can stop a whole push. And like I was saying earlier, her barrier, as in her shift and her E ability, they allow her to gain a lot of charge on her weapon, so then she can do a bunch of extra damage. And also, like, it kind of counters D.Va in a way, because her primary fire is a beam, so it does go through a defense matrix, and her right click can't, but she can still use her primary fire to be able to actually do that. So, the next character I'm going for is McCree, because if your accuracy is pretty good, you can hit a lot of shots from far distances. His role is very versatile, so I mostly use it as a mobility tactic rather than an escape route, because I'm not really in those situations that often. And his stun is very useful. So say like Reinhardt's about to shatter the whole team, and then you stun him, or he's charging in and he pins somebody and you stun him so he doesn't kill the person that's in his pin. Or there's a lot of ults that allow you to stun them out of it, except for we'll go with like Genji. Soldier doesn't get stunned out of his ult, but there are a lot of them, like Moira and Roadhog and Lucio, if you catch him in time before he falls on the ground. You can stun Pharah out of the air. So that's pretty much his ult isn't so good though, unless the team, like your team, has a shield to protect him, or the enemy team doesn't really have very much game sense, so they don't really see where he is, or they don't know that he's locked on to everybody on the team and stuff. So it can be a good ult, but it's not necessarily so good, especially when you get to the higher levels of play. My third one is going to be Soldier 76. He's very fun to play, because you can run around like you're in Call of Duty, and you have constant mobility with your shift. And his healing biotic field is what it's called. It can actually heal the whole team and not just you, like when Mei does it, or when Roadhog heals himself. Yeah, you can heal the whole team if they're all in that little area. His helix can be useful against low targets, like that are basically one shot, so you can just shoot them without really needing to aim, and you can hit them and kill them. Or I've had this a couple times where a D.Va is focusing me and gets up close to me, and I've actually gotten D.Va out of mech with helix and primary fire. So you could actually do it against tanks when they're not exactly doing their best. And he has an ult that has a lot of potential. Like, if there's no D.Va that has defense matrix up, or if there's nobody to stun you, then you have a very high potential of getting at least 2 kills. And yeah, it's a pretty decent ult. My fourth one is going to be Ashe, because her shift is very versatile, and like she can get to high places that you normally couldn't get to. She can hit people away with it. It's like a knockback effect. And her dynamite does a lot of overall damage and can also hit multiple targets. Like, if you throw a dynamite into a whole team and shoot it in the air, then you can just, like, the whole team's taking damage. So you're also getting your alt charge, doing a lot of damage to the team so that your team can actually make a push. And if Bob's placed correctly, he can do a lot of overall damage in the enemy back line. But he also acts as a 7th character, so that he can contest and move payloads if there's no one on him, which is really nice to have. The final one, I'm going to go with Hammond, because, you know, he just rolls around all day and can ground pound people into the air. And that's just amazingly fun. And it makes them slightly immobile so that your team can kind of shoot them in the air as well. But one thing that I don't really like is that his primary fire doesn't do too much damage if your tracking's not on point. You know, like how D.Va still does a decent amount of damage if you're not really tracking them that well because you have the E ability with missiles and stuff. But he is very mobile, so that's where he's very strong. He's extremely mobile with his grapple and his ground pound, and you can also get into fights, and then you press your E, which gives you shield, and then you can get out of the fight, like, after you press that E, so you can actually survive and then come back in for another push whenever everything's off cooldown. So that was my 5 favorite Overwatch characters based on skill level and being fun to play. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.